How y'all doing today? Another epic adventure at Weaver Stonehouse Farms. Hey, before the snow flies up here, which could happen very quickly, we're in the first week of October, and we're having our first frost warning here. So I wanted to show you what we've been doing with our intensive pasture grazing to try and take our pastures that were nothing, horrible, neglected, nobody used after it was sold out of the family, and then I bought the family farm back. You kind of need to see this because there's a lot of stuff online about neglected pastures, and we were doing a lot of reading on Polyface Farms, their book, and it works. It's not going to happen overnight, but it works. So let me show you around the farm here. So we've been dragging the chickens around. That's a given. And then this pasture down here, let's scoot over here, you can see the difference. So you can see that clear-cut line right there. Now that was the best pasture that we had before. It's now grown some good clover. We planted clover. So then let's take a look across here, and you can see where that next strip is. So that next strip that we did, we pulled another strip out across here. And what I'm talking to is strips. We did a central alleyway, runway, alleyway, whatever you want to call it. The water's at the end. So this is about 30 paces wide, and you can see I have T-posts, okay? One there, one here, and then all I simply did was walk 20 paces off. There's my next T-post. Behind Ellie, there's my next T-post. So then we go ahead and we run our wire out to the hard edge of the pasture where we have field fence. And I run it from here over. So that allows us to easily move the cows in between the pastures. I don't worry about the sheep because they kind of go wherever they want to under the one-wire fence. So now this piece, grab that, Meg. This piece out through here, it's coming around, looking better. When I'm done with them, what I try and get out here and do is mow it off. And we mowed that one off a couple weeks apart, and you can tell the difference in the mowing strip a little bit is right there. So I had two of those paddocks that we mowed at once. So then right here, you can see another strip. Say hi, Maggie.
Hey.
So then from this, that makes it real clear once I get out here, you can see that difference. Now that paddock over here, I did not mow down with a mower. I let it alone after the cows came through to see what kind of difference it was. And then when I look here on this paddock, I did mow it. And it came back, as far as I'm concerned, a whole lot better, less weeds. So when they're done in the paddock, for me, I go ahead and cut it down. And that has been a big help. So then also you can see these patches here. This is from the barn. So the barn, what we do here, and there's a patch here, and there's the barn. It's a drag along behind barn. I think it was a Penn State or an Iowa or somewhere, state extension building idea. And it's 10 foot by 16 foot, and it's on skids, and I just hook to it with a tractor and drag it. So what's great is then we go ahead and grind this up with the rototiller behind the tractor, and then we plant seed in it. So then you'll see, like over here, you get some really good pasture coming out of that where I had them wintered. And that's coming up real nice and well. So let's just continue walking out across. Now you can tell I don't have a whole lot of rope into this. It was one roll, Maggie, two rolls, one roll. It was one roll. Now they occasionally bust over it and they get through it, but that's okay. We've got the perimeter fence, and then also water off the back of the barn down into the bucket. It hasn't rained in a while. Probably gonna snow before it rains. And then these little Jim Dandy lockjaws. These are awesome. They've been really helpful for me. I don't get paid for this, but they've been helpful. The one thing I do with these is I've been cutting this part down at an angle with a utility knife, and then I've also been bending that ear out on the top of the T-post to make it work better for the poly braided fence there. So let's take a look at this next one. Now you can see here and see that line right there, and you can see out across where I didn't mow this down. So it came up okay, but there's a lot of weed in it. So that after this, I'm gonna mow it down again. So let's walk out here to the last one. Now you can see where these come in super handy for making it around the turns. So then this, they've been on here, what, 2 weeks now, Maggie?
Yeah.
And this is, they got this chewed down good. I only got a couple of patches that I need to mow over. And then all we're gonna simply do is pull those pigtails up, these, and move them over to the next T-post and run the line out. Now on the ends, I've got places to tie the line to make that easier. And then one of the things that I found, these are worth the investment. Stop buying the cheap junk plastic step-in posts. They do not last. I have a couple of them around here on the farm. I'm not buying them anymore. They're junk. So it's usually about $2 more for these. So these are running about $3.99 at my local Tractor Supply. A little bit cheaper down at Rural King, but they last so much longer. So, Maggie.
Okay.
So just a walk around the farm, showing you a little bit of how we do it and what's worked for us. So when somebody says, hey, that rotational grazing, it's gonna be hard, it's gonna be tough. It's really not. Give it a shot on your small piece of land and your small herd. It'll work. Aaron Weaver, Weaver Stonehouse Farms.